Okay, so we're going to start by understanding your energy and why aligning your energy through the lens of human design helps to create so much flow and ease and really kind of gets your aura right. If you think about the totality of who you are, mind, body, soul, as this aura that extends beyond your body, okay? As you walk around, your aura like bumps into things, and your aura always has sort of people and places and ideas and opportunities percolating around it. And when life feels more in flow, it's because your aura is more in alignment energetically, and so it kind of does the work for you of pulling in what is correct for you. So you walk into a room and somebody, looks at you as you enter, and they just immediately can read your energy and feel the warmth and the alignment and the flow and whatever is of your unique essence, they can feel that. So then maybe they bring up a conversation, or they can tell that you'd be open to talk about X, Y, and Z. Or you meet someone and you just instantly click. It's because there's this alignment and this sort of like correction of the way that your aura is interacting, the way your energy is interacting. So in human design, we have the Bodygraph, which I'll put on the screen, is where you see the 9 centers, different shapes. And most people have a combination of ones that are white and ones that are colored in. Unless you're a reflector, then everything is open, white, undefined. Now, the best way I like to explain the function of this is to think about your energetic body as a circuit board. Within a circuit board, you want energy to be flowing between everything. You want there to be a smooth transaction of energy and information and data between all of the centers. That is how you function. So when you think about, for example, the experience of being stuck or feeling blocked, and you go to a Reiki master, someone who does energy healing, they are helping to clear that energy so that things become aligned again and there's a good flow of communication between everything. It's the same thing within you, right? Within the human design body graph, is if you think about it, there's those channels between the centers, and energy literally flows between them, whether it's through wanting to express your feelings to your throat. There's the emotional solar plexus that connects to the throat, and emotions come up and they want to be spoken about, right? If you have that connection. And so you can think about it like you want to come into energetic alignment, because that is how you start to free up stagnant energy and how you start to feel better. You start to feel more confident, start to be more confident, because you've aligned yourself, your energetic body, to how it best functions. And everybody's functions a little bit differently. You have the 9 energy centers, and each of them governs something different. I'll run through them quickly. I'm not going to go really deep into each center because I just don't have time for that on one episode. But knowing what each one governs, and if you just look at your chart, you can start to piece together how your energetic body works, okay? So you have the crown center, which is at the top. This governs inspiration and is our connection to the divine. That's why in most body graph drawings, you'll see it's kind of peeking out of the chart or of the person. Then you have the mind, or the ajna center. This has to do with really like conceptualization, cognition, understanding. Then you have the throat, which is pretty self-explanatory, throat chakra. It has to do with manifestation, with the voice, with making things happen. Then you have the G center, which is all about direction, literally and figuratively, and identity, right? A sense of self. You have the heart/ego center, which is about I, me, mine, a sense of resources, a sense of I would like this thing in my life. It's very healthy to have that. You've got the emotional solar plexus, which is emotions. It's also really connected to our spiritual knowing and connection. You have the sacral, which is the gut. This is all about desire and wants. It's about sexuality, fertility. The spleen, which is all kind of like OG intuition, OG instincts. It also knows about fears and survival. So it's very kind of OG in the sense of helping humans and animals figure out whether to go somewhere or avoid it or whatever. And then you have the root, which is all about safety. And it's also about getting things done. It's a pressure and a motor center. So it has kind of like an extra boost to it, and it wants to get things going. All of these things function a little bit differently in each of us. So, for example, I have a defined root, which means I actually generally do well with pressure. And because I have so many activations in my root, I have learned to really lean in to that energy and that kind of like motorized function within me. So I tap into it and I say, I'm going to give myself a deadline. I'm going to give myself a to-do list, because if I have a positive relationship to that pressure, then I can use that to my advantage to get shit done, to get motivated and get going, right? Whereas if you had an open root, you would want to only kind of be riding waves of pressure sometimes, but not make it out to who you are, right? So if you have an open root, it gives you this knowledge of, okay, sometimes I can write on a deadline, but actually it's more important for me to feel less literal like pressure from the outside or from a deadline or from a to-do list, and to give myself more of my own flow to get things done. Just one example, very powerful example of how aligning that energy as you go through each energy center starts to shift the way you work, starts to shift the way you relate to things. It also helps you realize where your conditioning is, right? So if I was conditioned to think that, I don't know, I guess it would mostly be the opposite. People tend to be conditioned to think that deadlines are always a good thing. And maybe they are if you have a defined root center. But if you're open there, you want to sometimes give yourself a deadline, but other times you want to find a different way of working, around it, or changing your relationship to the deadline so that it's not just out of conditioning. As we become more aligned with our energetic body, we eliminate conditioning. We eliminate and heal the beliefs and stories that we've picked up to be a certain way, and we start to become more of how we actually function, and that is how alignment starts to unfold. This is really what makes you so unique. When you look at the holistic body graph, and this is, again, where I went really deep into my own body graph and how I function best according to my energy centers, and I gave myself this customized way of knowing who I am. This is where it gets really freaking unique beyond the energy types. You could have two generators with completely different charts, and they would operate so differently, right? They have the same energy type, but their activations are different. You could have a generator that just has the sacral connected to the G center, everything else is open, or you can have a generator that has like 7 centers all colored in. That would be a very different experience. Of those two people would experience life very differently, even though they're both generators. And that is why this becomes so customized, because our energy and the way that it's laid out is different. Now, the second piece of mastering your energy that really starts to make a difference is connected to your authority, okay? Talk about authority in human design. It's called authority for a very specific reason. It's because authority is something that you trust to tell you what to do, basically. And we are conditioned to outsource that authority to anyone and anything and any whatever outside of ourselves. And we are here to reclaim that. We are here to reclaim our authority over our own life, to be the boss of our life, because that is how it's meant to be. And when it comes to your energy and you think about yourself as this being that wants to be in alignment, in flow with how you best function, using your authority is like the tippity top thing to do, because it helps to keep the flow of everything else in your energetic body, in your chart, okay? So your authority is like the number one thing that if you were to disregard everything else, right, in like a human design reading, or that you were to learn in a course, and you just come back to your authority, it will inevitably lead you to who you really are and the rest of the chart and the rest of your human design, because you're following that inner instinct, that inner intuition, that voice, that knowing that is tied to the soul, right? The soul that always knows, the highest self that is connected to the infinite field, right? The quantum where you and all of your versions exist. And just to quickly run you through the 7 types of authority in human design, you have either the emotional authority, sacral, gut, splenic, you have heart/ego authority, you have what we call self-projected, which is effectively like the G center is the authority. Then there is environmental or mental authority, which is not the same as like logic, and reasoning, but it's effectively mental in the sense of sort of perceiving and processing your environment in a way that feels correct for you. And then there's the lunar authority, which is what reflectors have of when you wait the full lunar cycle to sample, test out, and basically wait for clarity to arrive. So your authority is so key because something really, really, really magical happens when you tap into that. And not only is it unlocking the way that your energetic body best works, but it is also starting to remove the shoulds and the conditioning from your life that is keeping you from alignment and keeping you from feeling good and feeling confident and trusting yourself. You learn to trust yourself when you listen and act on that authority, when you have the patience to wait the full lunar cycle as a reflector to sample energy and people and decisions and clarity and wait for it to drop in and then feel how much it resonates with you, right? You create so much ease and flow as a generator when you listen to that visceral gut reaction and you wait for it to respond to something and then you say, fuck yeah, let's go. The ripple effect of prioritizing that above the logical mind, the ego, the things that this is the stereotypical ego, right? Prioritizing that inner voice, that inner knowing above all else is what starts to help you trust yourself because you see the effect it has on your life. And yeah, maybe at first it's a little scary and you take a leap and a jump and the net hasn't appeared yet. But I guarantee when you start to use that authority, you're literally changing the ways that you express yourself, the way that your cells operate and talk to each other in your body, because energetically you've become in line. You've become aligned energetically, and that creates the signature behind everything else that you do. The reclamation of that authority is so key because on the personal side, I'll tell you what happened when I did this. When I started to trust that inner knowing, when I started to trust that gut feeling, there's other voices of authority within me too because of the other definition I have in my chart. When I started to trust my instincts, or when I started to trust the things that I want in life, I really built this sense of having my own back and knowing that when I took action on those, more would come, right? So my intuitive knowing is currently off the fucking charts. And it's an insane feeling because it gives you that sense of not being alone and that feeling of knowing that it's always going to come. The answer is going to arrive. The clarity is going to drop in. The next step is going to be revealed. It makes you so comfortable with the unknown. It makes you so comfortable with yourself and your unique path because you know you don't need the proof or the 8-step plan to get to where you're going anymore. You just know that you have your back and the universe is going to continue showing you what to do. That's the feeling of confidence. That's the feeling of trust and clarity because you are doing things according to your map and you are throwing out the map that has only led you to a dangling carrot that never came. That's why authority is so freaking important. And I can really say wholeheartedly that being able to follow and trust my intuition, it is a 180, is a black and white difference from the person I was years ago that was anxious and worried and overthinking things and really outsourcing the job of decision making to other people. And it leads to just a uncomfortable, anxious life because your body, your soul knows that it's meant to tune into itself to make those decisions. So that's why it has that ripple effect. That's why it creates the confidence because you gain this like bucket of evidence that's like, look, when I listen to my excitement, when I listen to my instincts, when I talk things out with other people just to hear my own, logic come out, that's when I feel lit up. That's when I feel expanded. That's when I feel at ease and surrendered. And that's when I feel like I can see the messages that the birds have for me. Like this random shit that happens when your life becomes really synchronistic, right? That feeling of the license plate says the numbers on it that you just asked for in your meditation. Like it has that more spiritual effect and it has the grounded real effect of the way that you show up in life. And now all of a sudden you are working your dream job, you're in your dream relationship. Your relationship is thriving because you've trusted yourself enough to let your intuition guide you, let your intuition guide your conversations, to just trust even the darker moments, the dark nights of the soul, where things are difficult and you're transmuting, but you have that voice that is like, we're fine. I got you. We're going to get through this. This is all part of the plan. So that's the authority piece. That's what really changes when you prioritize that. So those two things, which really wrap up into this energetic mastery, becoming a master of your energy, your way of doing things. Those two layers that are part of the onion of human design, where coming into alignment with that energetic self, with your personality, your profile, your gifts, right? All these elements that go much deeper, that create a sense of confidence, trust, and clarity. So if you want to go even deeper with that and more specific to you, if you want to learn about every single human design energy center, the personality profiles, all the things and how they affect you, this is where Activate comes in, because you're going to get to look at your profile next to the body graph, right? To your gifts in relation to your authority and how everything mixes together. So that can specifically support the awakening of your own genius to come out. So that's what we're doing inside Activate.